Welcome to Conversations with the Collector Part 4. Today we're going to talk about Christmas ornaments of a particular kind. And these are antique Czechoslovakian and Japanese bead ornaments. First of all, let me explain a little bit about the tree that they're on. This is a circa 1910 goose feather tree, and you can tell it's that vintage by the base with the stylized garland on it. A feather tree is an ecological movement to save the fir tree. And the branches are reinforced wire that are actually wrapped on the bias with goose feathers that have been spirally cut. So if you were to undo one of the branches, the feathers itself would be sort of in a spiral wrapped around the wire itself. And you can point the branches in any configuration that you want. Usually the tree is a main branch with two auxiliary branches, and that's true all the way up. This feather tree I purchased a number of years ago, and it's not in the best condition, but they're very hard to find, and this was the size I wanted to display the bead ornaments. Okay, let's talk about the bead ornaments. Basically, they came from two sources, Japan and Czechoslovakia. The Japanese ornaments tend to be less detailed and less quality than the Czechoslovakian. Personally, I prefer the Czech beads because they're more interesting shapes and really more thoughtful detail to the construction. I've put some interesting ones on the table in front. Let me go through them and point out some details about them. The first one is what we call a pocket, and this is a glass ring with lace beads sewn on, and it actually has an opening. You put this on the tree and you put a coin, a bill, and this would be a Christmas gift that you would hide on the tree for someone to find. The beauty of the Czech ornaments is that they come in various configurations. Like right next to it we have a bicycle. And if you look at the bicycle, you've got the glass wheel, you've got the beads across for the chassis of the bike. You've got the beads both round and elongated coming up to form the handlebars and the strut. And the whole thing put together makes a very pleasing composition. Notice the detail. Okay, I'm going to direct you back to the tree now and look at this ornament. This is a Japanese house with the bulb hanging inside. Look at the basic form of the construction, which is very simplistic compared to what I showed you on the bicycle. The Czech bead ornaments are much more complicated and interesting than the Japanese bead ones. Okay, the third ornament in the Czech variety would be the little chandelier. You'll notice the detail. You've got the struts coming down in one color, you've got the glass ring, you've got the candles with a different type of colored bead at the top to simulate the light. And if you can see it very closely at the top of the candlelight is a little circle. All of these ornaments are constructed on a wire frame with a little tiny circle at the top to hold the wires in place. And this basically means is that if the ornament becomes a little lopsided or skewed, you can straighten it because it's on a wire frame. These are interesting, at least to my mind, because they're very geometric and very modern looking. These would be from the 1930s, and it's that whole modern concept of Christmas. Can you imagine a whole tree in these modern ornaments? It would have fit in with a very stylistic deco setting. The next one is a Creole or fish net with a fish actually on the inside. It's a glass fish. The circle again with the beading on a wire frame. The interesting part of this is the European concept of a fish as a good luck symbol. So this would be given as an ornament on a tree to connote good luck. You've got a butterfly, the colored long beads, the sort of Baroque beads in the center, glass again, and the wingspan with the four parts. This is a particularly good one because I think of it as a time warp. It's a dirigible. You've got a center bulb as the ornament, and you've got the beadwork around it to signify the rudder on the back of the dirigible and the carrying compartment below. Obviously, this is a 1930s item. The good luck scales, and when you hang this on the tree, it's actually balanced, so it's really very pleasing on the tree. A biplane, again a 1930s statement because of the style of the plane. You've got the ornament body and the beadwork around it to make up the actual structure. A stringed instrument, and I love the red color. Red's a good color in beadwork, with the yellow and the silver beads. Very, very sweet one here. It's a watering can. The handle, the bead construction, the coral beads here, and the blue spout. The dancing figure out of large beads, but notice the small beads at the hands and feet just to give it that extra touch of detail. We've got a purse or a cage with 3 birds in it. And again, the bead construction of the purse or the cage and the birds are glass. And finally, we've got a pair of scissors, all in beadwork. And the interesting thing about this one is it's just the one color bead, but it's the shape that carries the idea. The last thing I want to show you is this ornament on the tree right here. And this ornament is an antique bicycle, but this ornament is new. It's a reproduction of the old Czech ornaments. I want you to notice the brightness of the beads. The shocking green color, the purple color. These are colors that were never made in the old beads. This configuration, style-wise, is similar to the old, but it's definitely new because the beads themselves look and are new. Collecting bead ornaments is fun because you can collect a variety of shapes, sizes, colors, and they look great on a small tabletop tree. The thing I would caution you, though, is buy the best you can afford. Like, for instance, the bicycle ornament is probably top of the line when it comes to these bead ornaments. And I would say that one is probably in the $75 to $85 range. A simple Japanese one like this might be in the $5 to $10 range. The fish in the Creole, that might be a $20, $25. The dirigible might be a $50 or $60. Pattern your purchases so that you can afford what you want, but buy the best you can afford. Hope you enjoyed this, and our next talk will be on more Christmas ornaments.